America's Godzilla of truth. All week long, he's world-renowned for his proficient proclivity to prophesy the people's political picks with pinpoint precision.
Yeah, baby.
Then, on the weekends, he gets with the guys that are pretty wise, and Godzilla wins. Godzilla Wins, the sports picking show for winning dough. Money lines, parlays, over-under, the best plays. You choose the game, Godzilla picks the winners. Get expert analysis, exclusive insights, and have a little fun. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla Wins is your guide to picking winners. Godzilla Wins, on the screens of your TV and favorite devices, commanding radio airwaves far and wide. Before you make that play, hear what the Godzilla crew has to say. Presented by WestVirginiaSportsNation.com, it's time for Godzilla Wins, all across the John Fredericks Media Network. Oh yeah,
for entertainment purposes only.
All right, welcome to another great edition of Godzilla Wins on Saturday. Unfortunately, you're stuck with me today. I am your host, John Fredericks. Jack, my son, who's normally the host, he's out. Today's got things going on. Mitch is coaching girls soccer. He's got little girls running around. He's out. He's got to design. I don't know how you design plays for 9-year-old soccer teams, but he's got to design some plays to get some goals. We got a special guest joining us today, Reed Chumley of the Chum Dinger fame. I'm live here at Mountaineer Park. I guess it's called Kenrick Family Ballpark here in Morgantown. You can see the nice backdrop behind me, which is very, very familiar. It's a very familiar scene to Reed Chumley, who had a ton of home runs here as he led the 2024 Mountaineers to the Super Regionals. Another special guest, we've got Chris Saxman of the John Fredericks Radio moving over into the sports realm. And Saxman, good to have you with us, Sax. Always great to have you with us with your Steelers cup. And Chris Saxman, an insufferable Steelers, Pirates, and Penguins fan. So
I'm not insufferable. Good morning, John. First of all, good morning, Matthew. Good morning, Reed. I'm not insufferable.
Yes,
I'm in suffering. I'm in suffering. There's a big difference.
So, the thing is, I got to host this thing, and so you guys got to carry me. Also, Saxman, there's a ulterior motive for me roping you in today. So, at like from 10 to 10:20, you got that run sheet right. I've got to get off air because I've got a hit on Newsmax that I forgot about. So you got to actually host this thing for about 20 minutes. But as you've been savvy,
cool. I'll add it to the tab. That's cool.
0 times 0 is 0. I may just keep adding the zeros on.
Well, Michelle took a look at the books. It's not exactly accurate.
Oh God, let's see. I got a quick bit before we get into anything. I got a quick text here in the chat from Virginia Political Memes, who heard you were coming on today. So of course he has to log in, and he says, Godzilla, I'm short $2K on rent and utilities this month after my parlay didn't hit with the Braves. Well, what the hell are you betting the Braves for? They got like 5 wins, dude. I mean, give me a break. How can I triple, possibly quadruple my remaining 220? Well, you're in the right place at the right time. I had one bet last night. I bet the Dodgers minus 150, 140, and they shut out Texas. So I had a winner there. So that's good. Always good to have a winner on Friday night.
Check the weather in Wrigley and go for the over.
He scores those games like 20.
It was nuts. Nuts.
Anyway, look, it's good to have everybody. Is this it, Al? We got anybody else that's coming on? Are we good? I think that this is probably good. I tell you what, guys, I know there's we got to do this run sheet and all that. Jack sent out like 15 run sheets yesterday. So I thought there was something wrong with my email. I keep getting these run sheets. So I have no idea which is the accurate one, but we'll try to figure it out. I guess he was saying that he was training AI to do the run sheet or something.
He was struggling just a little bit, but we made it there.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what that means. Trying to train AI. I'm not really. I guess I got to get into that. But look, let's just start. I'm here in the press box at West Virginia. So let's just start here. Because we all know what's going on. Another win last night. was that 12 in a row that West Virginia baseball has won 12 games straight. They're 32-4. They're going to beat Cincinnati again today. That's going to make them 33-4. They're going to beat Penn State 35 and I lost. It's too much winning. It's like Trump says, it's too much winning. You can't even figure it out. So that's going to happen. And then they go to University of Central Florida, the Knights, who are not having a very good season, Matthew. So they're going to sweep them. I mean, they're going to go into the final 3 series of the Big 12 with a 3-game lead, a 2 or 3 game lead. I don't know how you stop this team. I'm just going to turn it over to Matthew.
I guess it was the Reed Chumley effect. Brought in a stud last year, and now you got all the other people just following in the footsteps. They're all hitting 300. I mean, yeah, they scored a ton of runs. The offense, it's impressive. I think they could push 50 wins. 50 wins, regular season champs. If they can pull out the tournament. I know Globe Life hasn't been the best place for them to play at, but got to win 3 games. I think they're going to be 45-plus wins, regular season champs. They're going to have a really strong case to not only host a regional, but probably host a super regional as well if they keep this up.
I mean, John, the thing that jumps out to me as I look at the rankings is why are they ranked so low if they're doing so well? That's
strength of competition.
I get that, but is that the Big 12? Is that their conference? Was that the story there?
A lot of the early games they played were against teams. Look, you schedule these games out. You think maybe the teams will be competitive. It just happened that a lot of those games, the teams were not competitive. And right. So they're, what is it called, Matthew? The RPI or something? Huh?
Yeah. RPI.
The RPI of the teams they beat was not very high. I mean, they caught Lipscomb, who doesn't have a bad program, on a down season. They played Queens, who's a friend of Steve Saban's that coach there. They're really not a D1 baseball team. So it was like, they're basically a junior college. So those wins didn't mean anything. And then a couple of the other teams that normally are better, Jacksonville State, probably the toughest competition they had, but they beat them. So a lot of the early games just didn't matter to them. Towson's not very good, et cetera. But look, when you look at the West Virginia Mountaineers and you look at their schedule coming up, they're gonna win today. I mean, I just talked to you a little bit about the Cincinnati. I know we got a lot of things to do today, but Matthew and Chris, this team is pathetic. I mean, the errors they make, they've left probably 10 guys on third base this series with less than 2 outs, pass balls on strike threes, pop-ups at the first baseman. I mean, they had a guy on third and 2 outs, pop up to the first baseman, wind blowing, can't find the ball. Then it drops in front of him. Now get this, Saxman. Ball drops in front of him, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's ahead of the bag, and it's going to bounce out of bounds. It's going to bounce over the line. That's the angle. So it bounces and he picks it up. So the run scores. All he's got to do is stand there. Okay, you couldn't catch it. Let it bounce foul, and then grab it, and it's a foul ball. Just terrible baseball. Then, I mean, get this. They're down 5. This is the Bearcats. They're down 5-1 in the top of the 7th. We've got Estridge warming up in a bullpen. Him and Chase Myers, two of the best bullpen arms in the Big 12. You got first and second, 1 out, no outs. You got 9 outs to go, and you sacrifice. Like, what? Why are you giving up an out? You got 9 outs to go, and you're down by 5 runs. You're down by 5 runs, and you're bunting? I mean, it was the most insane. I would have fired the guy like this afternoon. I'd have been like, pack your crap and get out of my organization.
It sounds like he's just trying to get some momentum, and college baseball can swing on momentum more so than pro ball. But that just sounds like a lot of mental errors, and that's just not good mental preparation. And I think we all know that stems from, regardless if you're playing spring. Look, spring ball is not easy. The weather is not on your side. It's cold. It gets in your head. The problem is it's in your head. And that's one of the problems that I think a lot of younger ball players have is just the youth of the season and the youth within the youth of the season. So, but yeah, that's a lot of mental errors, and I'm not surprised at the collegiate level.
It was kind of, Matthew, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? And actually, we're going to start in our recaps on WV Sports Nation. Get to that in a minute. We're going to say at the end, like the good and the bad and the ugly.
Mhm.
I mean, the good here was Mountaineers win another game. Estridge looked pretty good coming out of the pen. Decent start by Van Keppen. We continue to hit. Couple of bad things was just Cincinnati's lack of, playing solid baseball. And I've seen this now for 2 games. It's not good. And then I thought the ugliest thing, Matthew, is when Coach Saban said the Mountaineers took out Van Keppen last night. I don't know if you caught this. I did, because obviously Saxman and I are sensitive to pitchers. We turned his back on his coach. Turned his back. Like, I've never seen that. Like, he didn't greet who came in, Reese Bassinger.
Yeah, Reese came in second.
He didn't greet Reese. He turned his back on the coach.
Wow.
And then as soon as Reese got halfway there, he just walked off the mound shaking his head. You played ball. You played at Clemson, Matthew. You're a high rated ball player prior to your injury. What was your reaction to that?
Bit surprising, especially considering the season they've had. I mean, it's been not even really ups and downs. It's just been lots of ups. They're 33-4 at this point. Like, it's been a great season. Everything Steve Saban has done has resulted in wins, which is ultimately what he gets paid to do. So I was surprised by that. From everything I've seen, they seem like they've got a great culture going on. They're a gritty ball club. What was a little bit surprising, I do think Gavin threw very well last night. I thought he had a good start. I can understand the competitiveness with slight frustration, but I think that's something you take out possibly dugout, definitely in the locker room, maybe get into the facility before you show that. So I understand it to an extent. I get the competitive nature. I like to see pitchers fired up, but I think there was a better place to kind of let that out.
Chris Saxman, you're a catcher. You've been around baseball your whole life, as I have.
Yeah.
You take a pitcher out, I don't know, it was the 5th inning or the 4th inning, I don't remember, but you take your starter out. He was kind of pissed off a week ago when Sabans took him out. He was shaking his head, and you see him grumbling. But turning his back on the coach, if you're the catcher, what do you do there?
Was he coming out of the game?
Yes.
Hey, talk to him later. You let him have his steam off. Pitchers are they're very egotistical, and they need to be. And they when you manage an ego on the mound, it's very different than when they're walking off. You talk to them later, you get in the dugout, say, hey, that's something we need to talk about. But you do it in a way that comports with who that personality is, and all the personalities are different with pitchers, and they have wonderful flair, and they have wonderful arrogance, and they have to be. I mean, they don't want to come out of the game, and that's one of the great things about pitchers, and it's why they pitch. So my role there would be to come alongside and say, hey, what's going on? You have to be professional coming off the field, because scouts are looking at this. You need to think about long-term. I get it. You're young. You're 19, 20 years old. You're full of piss and vinegar.
Yeah, but I mean, you're trying to go into draft. Gavin Van Kempen is trying to go into draft Matthew. And I thought what he displayed last night was.
No, it hurts. As the catcher, you go up to and say, look, if you want to hurt your draft position, keep doing what you're doing. Otherwise, when you come out, it's time to act like a pro. They're making a decision. It's not about you. It's about the team. Move on. That's it. And you got to take your lumps and move on. We'll get back the next day. Let's be better the next time. That's the kind of thing.
What do you think, Matthew Lumsden?
No, I think he's spot on, especially Logan behind the plate. He's a veteran, very experienced player, great talent. I think he will handle that. I'm sure he handles the pitchers very well. I think that'll be in behind the door discussion, and I think he'll get it taken care of. And, I mean, Gavin's got good stuff. He's heating up at the right time. I expect him to come out next week in Orlando and take care of UCF.
Right. So that should be it. Okay. Well, there's our West Virginia baseball update. Pretty thorough. Now, this segment is brought to you by WVSportsNation.com. WVSportsNation.com. You can read all about West Virginia athletics, all about their sporting events, all about baseball, football. We got football coming up. We got soccer coming up. All of that on WVSportsNation.com, WVSportsNation.com. Go there and check it out. And we're going to, there's a lot of other sites out there that'll give you write-ups that basically put the box score into AI, and that's how they get a write-up. We don't. We've got beat writers at the game. They're getting the inside scoop like we are here. They're giving you the information you're simply not going to find anywhere else. That's why you want to go to WVSportsNation.com. Okay, guys, let's move on to. Well, I tell you what. We're going to go to MLB in a second. Let's stay here with college baseball for a second. Kendrick Family Ballpark, we had 4,500 people here. For us, this is sold out. Big deal. But you go to these SEC games, you go to LSU, they're getting 15,000 a game. He's standing room only every night, every game. This NIL money is getting crazy, right? We saw the issue with the quarterback in Tennessee, wanted $4 million, got $2 million, didn't show up for this spring game. Where is this? Matthew Lumpson, where's this going?
I'm curious to see what all the ruling is with the 5th years, the NIL versus profit sharing. I'm curious. The Tennessee situation, I personally loved. I thought it was awesome. He thought he was bigger than the team. They told him to get lost, and he cost himself quite a bit of money, and now he's not going to sniff a CFP. So, I mean, you get what you deserve, right? Like, I loved it. I thought it was great. He thought, I mean, come on now. That was the poorest way he could have possibly handled that, and he got what was coming to him. So, I love it. I think that's great. I'm very, very happy for Tennessee telling him to get lost. I'm glad they didn't cave. That was a statement, I think, especially it was the first kind of big time situation where you've seen a kid hold out per se. And they were like, we're not doing it. We're not dealing with it. And I think the next person might think twice now after he costs himself some money and ends up at a significantly inferior school.
Exactly.
Overall, taking a pullback, my initial thoughts on NIL and all this stuff was it's going to be bad for the game. And it might be in the end. But what I'm thrilled for is how much is teaching the next generation about the labor market and how it actually works and what kind of role they have to play and how much power they have to play when it comes to negotiating for their salaries and benefits and whatever professional life that they have. So I think it could serve a very useful purpose for our society and our culture. That said, I think because of the nature of the money and the age of the kids we're talking about here, there has to be some structure and some regulation around it for their benefit long term, and also for the sport. Because let's be honest, now it's a professional sport and should be treated as such. But you can't take advantage of 16, 17, 18-year-old kids for the kind of money we're talking about. And it has had an impact on the colleges, the schools themselves, but they're all adjusting, right? You have Indiana and Baylor without one signed basketball player right now. They have no one on the roster. They have no one there. The only person there is answering the phones, but so they're in a bit of transition, and they'll come out of it in 2-3 years time. You'll start seeing this thing flesh out. There'll be a lot of mistakes like this kid from Tennessee, and good on Tennessee. Look, good on Tennessee for saying, no, thanks. You're not that big of an asset for the team. So we'll see what ends up with him. He sort of reminds me of the ball kids, right, from basketball.
Nobody's heard of them anymore, but I love the way Coach Hipple handled this. Former college, big time quarterback himself. Mm-hmm. And kid doesn't show up for a spring game. He doesn't call the quarterback's coach. He doesn't call the head coach. He doesn't call the trainer. Just doesn't show. And he cut him. And he's like, you know what? You're not clean your stuff out. Go get off my campus. You're done. Go find your money somewhere else.
We can spend that money elsewhere, and that's a tight budget. It's a real tight budget.
That's exactly. I mean, it's like ridiculous. $4 million. I mean, he had signed for 2 out of high school. Now he wants 4. And he was pretty good last season, but it's not like, he was the end all be all. So good for Coach.
You can't let at that level with 8,500 kids in the locker room, you can't have one guy dictate like that. And the coach can't, because you can't control the other 84 to 100, right? Because they're going to go, well, I want something else. I'll hold out. that is a disaster organizationally.
Okay. I think we've got Reed Chumley trying to get back in. If you can handle that. I'm trying to multitask here. So I'm not accustomed to hosting this show on Saturday. Normally Saturday I just sit back and make comments. So it's a little bit tougher. Okay, let's get to the we're on baseball. Let's stay with baseball right now.
I'm back in. Good morning, guys.
We got Reed Chumley back of the Chum Dinger fame. So Reed, you missed our college baseball segment, but we're now going to get on to MLB, some of the major storylines here. I mean, right off the bat, I mean, the number one storyline has got to be what's going on with Atlanta, right? 5 wins. I think they were losing last night. They came back to win. I think they beat the Twins, but they got 5 wins on the season. They're only falling out. The thing about April is you can't win a division in April, but you can certainly put yourself in a hole. What is wrong? I'll just turn it over to the guy. What is wrong with Atlanta?
I love it. I'm just going to say it out front. I hate the Braves. I've always hated the Braves. I've never liked Skip Carey. I've hate the entire Carey family. I had to listen to them my entire adult life growing up. Sid Bream broke my heart. So I'm really enjoying this. Thanks for the conversation, John.
What do you think, Matthew? I mean, I should be betting against them every day.
Yeah, no, I thought initially it was Padres Dodgers out of the gate. That's explainable. It's gotten a little bit lighter, but splitting with Miami, Toronto, I don't think is anything great. The bats aren't there. It's bad. It's not getting any better. And the strikeout rate is through the roof. The one interesting thing I saw is when they won the World Series, the K rate was like in half from like the previous 5 years. So whatever they were doing in 23, they either got to get back to it or it could be a long season.
Reed, you have any comments? Reed Chumley, I know you follow. You're an Astro fan like me. We got our own issues going on, which I'll get to in a minute. But although we did win last night, we beat San Diego. What's going on in Atlanta? I mean, if you're an Atlanta fan, you're thinking, you're probably going to win the division. You got all this pitching, you got these hitters, and you look up, you're 8 games out, and you got 5 wins, and you're heading into the middle of April. Reed, you're there? Can you hear me? All right. Reed's not getting audio, Al. So whatever the issue is with Reed, we have not figured that out. Okay, let's stay with Major League Baseball. Other big storyline. Reed, are you there? No, Reed.
Astro fan and JJ Weatherholt fan.
Well, I tell you what. Put JJ aside for a second. We'll get that to in a minute. If you can get my audio. We want to get your comment now. Any big storyline that you see coming out of the MLB right now?
I just think that's baseball. You're going to be up, you're going to be down. They just so happen to be down right now. And towards the end, who knows what could happen? Because I've heard and seen comments from Chris Sale, Matt Olson. Yeah, I don't want to do this forever. Well, you don't have to do it forever. You can wake up the next day, make a decision, move on to the next series. It's just baseball. You're gonna have your wins, you're gonna have your losses.
What are they complaining about, Reed?
They're not hitting. They're not pitching. We'll make a change.
So
that's all I got. I mean, that's all I got on the subject of the Braves.
I mean, 6-13, 6.5 games out. Let's get to let's get to the Mets. 13-7. They spent all the money on Soto. They're in first place in the East. Let's get to Saxman here. A lot of people rooting against the Mets like me, because I hate everybody, so it doesn't really matter. But I guess you spend $1 billion and you start winning games. Is that the new deal now?
Not necessarily. It just happens to be working out right now. As to Reed's point about being early in the season, you never know. They could collapse. The Braves could come on. You're 20 games in. You're an eighth of this way through the season. But I think it's great for that division to have some competition at that level for the Mets and the Phillies. The Nationals are in the tank there, but I like it. I like the fact that the Mets are proving to be better than everyone normally views the Mets. And I think, they've made other adjustments in the organization to get to where they need to be. Because it's not just about Juan Soto and paying him a ton of money, several tons of money. But it also says they're committed long-term. That's the building of having the long-term. That's the great thing about having a long-term contract to build around and to attract others to it. Because other players want to win, and they see the checkbook there too, so they're going to be more apt to sign. I like what's going on out west. It's not so much Dodgers and Padres that got me interested. It's the Angels and the Giants right now. They're just playing above a level that I had anticipated this year, and that's exciting to see, especially in the NL West.
Well, the Angels are 10-9, a game and a half behind Texas. Rangers losing last night to the Dodgers, the Angels a game and a half back. Seattle 2 games back. Astros 2.5 back. I know, Reed, you and I are Astro fans. I don't think we've won 2 games in a row so far this season. Win 1, lose 1. Win 1, lose 2.
I don't really know what the situation is there with throwing Jose Altuve out in left field, but I don't really like it. I don't know about you, but yeah.
That's called desperation.
Like that decision so much. Yeah. Probably some of
putting
the
a 5'7" guy out in left field. I don't think so. That's just not going to work long term.
Yeah.
Well, they had to put him somewhere.
Quick, but he's not fast. Let's be honest.
They don't want to put Yordan Alvarez out there because they don't want him to get hurt. I mean, that's basically the big thing. And he gets hurt a lot out there. He's a big guy chasing balls around, knocking into walls. Might bang into another player, Myers or somebody in center. So they don't want to do that. So they're kind of stuck. I mean, give it a shot. But, I watch them every day, obviously, when I can. And, our team is competitive, but right now it's a 500 team. And we got, starting pitching issues. Framber's on one day, off one game, like normal. So you can't really ever bet on the guy because you don't know what Framber's going to show up. I keep hearing McCullers is going to come back, but I've heard that since 2008 or something. So he's always coming back, and he doesn't ever come back. Looks like Garcia's out. Luis Garcia's out for the season. So he's going to miss 2. Can you imagine this? You get Tommy John, and you miss 2.5 seasons? 2.5 seasons. He's done again. McCullers has already been out, 3 seasons? He's done. So you have all these pitchers on the shelf. The other problem they have is and if you're looking to win in baseball, let me give you a little tip here. If Hader pitches the previous game over an inning, like over 40 pitches, or he pitches 1 inning 35, whoever Houston's playing the next day, bet them, because other than Hader, they really don't have anybody. Hader's been lights out. So he's been better. He looks better than ever. And my son said that the first time he saw him this season. He said Hader's going to get 50 saves. But other than that, if they don't bring him in, they blow leads. So not really confident that this is anything other maybe than a 500 team. Anybody want to comment on that? And then we'll get to the Dodgers.
All right. Yeah, I think that they are on a little bit of a obvious downfall, and they might be going back into a rebuilding phase. I mean, there's a couple superstars there, but Altuve's getting old, and you got a bunch of guys that are old on that team. And I think that that's where we're reaching. I mean, 9-10 to start. That's not the Astros that's been for past 7-8 years. So,
yeah, it's just the organizational changing over. And they've lost a lot of great superstar talent that's been signed elsewhere. They could have stroked the checkbook. They chose not to. It didn't keep them. That's just the nature of the beast in the major leagues these days.
Well, they're in no man's land. Like, they're not doing a rebuild. They're not doing a rebuild. I can deal with a rebuild. I dealt with that for 3 seasons where we were the clown show of the major leagues, losing over 100 games. One season we lost 109 or 110 games. I mean, you go through it, and then you just wait for the draft picks, etc. I don't really know what they're doing because they're letting the good players go. We're not in a rebuild. This team is not going to, even if they get in the playoffs, they're not going anywhere. So it's like, you're in kind of that middle there. Let's get to the Dodgers. Is this the best team ever assembled in Major League Baseball? Chris Saxman.
The fact that we're having the conversation tells you how good they really are. The fact that even that, like we say a lot in politics, John, it's not so much the answer, it's the question. And the question here is a devastating one for a lot of competition in MLB, because you look at that lineup night in, night out, and I watch them almost every night. It's just frankly, it's a beautiful lineup. I mean, you come up there and you go, damn, another one. Damn, another one. Who's pitching? Damn, that kid, and they're just dominant. And over the course of the season, that's just going to be tough to bet against. The question is, do they cover the spreads, right? How soon before they buy the Pirates and just sell off everything else and just take Skeens? Because that's probably the better move financially, isn't it?
Just buy the Pirates.
Buy them outright. Just close them down like a tired donut franchise. No, we're just going to take the real estate.
That's pretty sad. All right, guys. Good to have you with us. We've got Matthew Lumsden of Lumsden fame. His brother Ben Lumsden, right fielder for the West Virginia Mountaineers. Matthew also played ball for Clemson, so he knows a little bit about the game. Chris Saxman with us, Pirates, Penguins, and Steelers fan, also part of the burgeoning John Fredericks Radio Network on the political side, also part of the Virginia gang on Friday. So we moved him over to today to bail me out. And Reed Chumley with us right now. Reed of the Chum Dinger fame, played third base for the super regional West Virginia Mountaineers, now has told me that he's semi-retired. The last time we talked, Reed, you said you had some hip issues, but you might go back in the independent league. When I saw you here, when you got engaged at the suite, you were kind of pining to get back in the game. Are we ever going to see a Reed Chumley out there again on a professional level?
I don't think so. I think I'm completely done, and I'm focusing on my new fiance and just starting my career. And I think I'm done with baseball, but I'm always going to be a Joe Fredericks and a Ben Lumsden fan. That's for sure.
Well, that's good. He needs as many fans as he can get, and so does Ben. There's no question about that. You're in a hey, it's a good fandom to be in. No doubt about that. We're on Godzilla Wins. This segment is brought to you by our good friends at Rosie's and Colonial Downs. I want to thank Rosie's for all they do. They've been a sponsor of us from the beginning. If you're in Virginia and you want to have a good time, Rosie's is the place to go. Go to rosiesgaming.com, rosiesgaming.com. Colonial Downs, the number one most beautiful racetrack in America, now better than Saratoga. It's my favorite spot. We have a suite there. That meet opens in July, runs all the way through September. We're looking forward to that. But if you just want a fun night out, visit rosiesgaming.com in Virginia. You're going to have so much fun. Upstairs, they got the sports betting thing and everything. But downstairs, they got all the slot machines. Great payouts because they have the lowest takeout by any state in the country for slot machines. So big jackpots, plenty of winners. Have fun, win money. Go to rosiesgaming.com, rosiesgaming.com, and you're good to go right there. Guys, NFL draft coming up. We got a lot to cover today. That's coming up. Everybody's got their speculations. Every time you go to any site, you see another mock draft. But I don't, is it me or I don't sense the excitement around it this season that we normally have. I mean, normally coming up to the draft, there's a frenzy. Like there's just a frenzy. And I don't know, it's because, and I asked Joe that the other day. I'm like, what? We're not even talking about the draft like we normally do. And he said that's because the Titans have the number one pick and nobody gives a crap. Is that true? Where's the buzz here?
The buzz is no buzz. You hit it on the head. It's a great observation. What is the story in this draft? The two kids out of Colorado? Is that it? I mean, is there a game-changing player? There's not. I mean, Cam Ward is the consensus number one pick, and I'm sorry, he just doesn't excite me. He could be a great quarterback. I don't think he will be. I don't think he'll be a bust. I just don't. He might be a journeyman quarterback in the NFL, but I'm not sensing this. The 3 transfer kid who's going to be dynamic going in and taking over the NFL. I just don't see that player anymore. I think the NFL has gotten very technical and very specific, and so you're drafting for you very unique characteristics these days, and that's hard to get excited about. Long term, writ large, you just can't go, oh, this is a great draft. I just don't see it. There's not a good talent, but not great talent.
I mean, Matthew, normally there's just excitement about it. Like there's intrigue, there's excitement. Who's going to trade up? Who's going to trade down? Who's going to pick this guy? It's just dead. It's like, okay, we've all relegated ourselves to the fact that Tennessee is going to pick Cam Ward. They have to. Okay, they have no choice. Hope things work out, right? Hope they're better than the other guy they got with the mayonnaise jar. So they have to pick him, but he's not he's not like getting any excitement. And then you go to Colorado. You got the best athlete probably in the draft, Travis Hunter. I don't know where he's going. And then you got the whole Deion Sanders factor with his son, but there's just not the level of excitement coming out. And there's nobody here that's a game changer, Matthew.
No, I mean, Chris hit it spot on. There's not that one kind of poster boy for the draft. There's nothing that's intriguing. And I think it's a lull off of last year. I mean, last year you see 35 quarterbacks, it feels like, go in the first 35 picks. They're just getting popped left and right. Most of them had success right out of the gate. I mean, you see Caleb Williams was all right. Jaden Daniels turned Washington around incredibly quickly. I think when you compare it to last year, that just adds on to the fact that there's no superstars and it's not even in the same stratosphere as what you just witnessed a year ago, which is just going to create kind of just it's happening. See what, I guess, just take it as it comes.
Chris?
Yeah, John, I have these in my man cave here. I have 2 75-inch TVs side by side, and if I had to put the NFL draft on one and draft day on the other, which one would I put on surround sound? Not the NFL draft. I'd still be looking at Vontae Mack over Bo Callahan. I'm just telling you. It's just not something I want to watch.
I just don't see the excitement here, and I guess maybe when the Tennessee ends up picking Ward, we'll see what happens. There's certainly going to be intrigue on that team. I think they're going to end up cutting Levis. I think that's what they ought to do. He's not an NFL quarterback, but we'll see. I mean, normally the NFL is able to dominate headlines, weeks before this is coming out. They've not been able to do that because this is just kind of a dead draft. It's just, and I guess it's, and I thought with Shadon Sanders being in there, there'd be intrigue. He keeps dropping. I mean, does anybody think he's going to go top 10?
No, I don't think so. And
I mean,
back to what Chris and Matthew were both saying, there's no buzz because I don't think there's been any buzz about the draft past 2-3 years. And it's to what Chris is saying. It's all technical. It's all formulated on how somebody needs to get picked. And there's just no excitement in that. And that's just what I've seen the past couple of years. And I don't think, back to what Matthew was saying, I don't think there's a superstar either. There's nobody that's like blow me out of the water pick that somebody needs to have.
Yeah. This is the interior lineman draft. This is where you take care of some needs, some depth, and build your organization, your franchise. Because let's be honest, we're still looking at Kansas City, Buffalo, Philadelphia, Washington Commanders, and maybe in the Detroit Lions. There's not going to be a lot of shuffling at the top. So I think organizations are looking at value. They're looking at long-term value, and you build that interior from the ball out and back. And that's what you have to take care of.
As a Titans fan, I wish we had a quarterback because I would have much rather pick the defensive lineman Carter first. I would much rather pair him with Jeff Simmons and have a just absolute dominating defensive front that nobody could run the football on. But again, Tennessee has no choice. I mean, I guess what they could do is, trade up, or trade down, I guess. But and that's still a possibility. But you can't, if you're the Titans and you got a new stadium, you just can't go forward with the quarterback clown show they got going on there. So, and they
you can't afford to make a mistake and not
exactly.
take
I mean,
it,
you can't. He could turn into the
because if he works out, then you're a
if he turns
total
out to be
goat.
the next Jaden Daniels, which is what everybody wants. Now you're like your franchise becomes idiotic, even past what it is now. The fact that they're banging on me every day to renew my season tickets there, like, you got to be kidding me. I gotta buy crap from you guys until you show me that you can put some semblance of a competitive team on the field. Okay. This segment is brought to you by our great friends at Healthy Cell. And, I was up last night watching the game. I get up at 3:30 every day. But you probably say, how do you keep this energy? How do you keep it going? Well, that's because I get my Healthy Cell. And the most important thing that you can do is get a good night's sleep. Saxman knows this. Saxman's getting a little bit older, a little bit longer in the tooth. Like me, got to get a good night's sleep. Now, if you're Chumley and you just got engaged and you're 23, you don't really think of this stuff, right? If you're Matthew Lumsden and you're going around picking winners and you got 8 girlfriends at a time, you don't need this. But if you're me and Saxman, you've got to get a good night's sleep. Best way to do that is REM sleep from Healthy Cell, because you take that. I took it last night, 15 minutes before I went to bed, had dinner with Joe, went back, had a nightcap with the Fräulein, took my REM sleep, 50 minutes, I'm out. 7:30, clock rings, jump out of bed, ready for you guys. Come over here to the stadium, ready to go. It's because you got a great night's sleep. All you have to do is go to healthycell.com. Do it now. I know you've been thinking about it, but just do it. Go to healthycell.com/Godzilla, promo code Godzilla, 20% off. Now, I also take the Focus. I take all the vitamins. That's because I'm a bull, right? Saxman should take all this too. He'd be a bull too. Chris, you need to
I took Shane Gillis, John. I took Shane Gillis's suggestions and went with a couple of beers and a little bump. That's the play. No, just kidding. I'm kidding, kids. Don't do that. I'm just kidding.
You're following the
family show.
George Thurgood theory.
No, dude, I cannot. To the gentleman here on the show and anyone else listening and watching, please invest in your sleep. Please invest in your sleep. It's such a difference in your life, short term and long term. I mean, these kids sleep because they're just at that age. They have that metabolism. They're just going to zonk out for 8-10 hours like it's nothing. Wake up with a sweaty pillow and all that crap like we used to, with a smile on our face because they got a girl next to them. It changes, and you need to invest in your sleep. 100%.
See, this is why I love having the Zoomers on, and it's good that I've got a contemporary finally, and I'm not dominated by these millennials. But I love the Zoomers. Good to have you guys with us. Sax? Remember the time you had to wake me up? Didn't we do some coverage that went on to the wee hours of the?
Oh, you were in the minivan,
bus,
whatever
right?
that bus is.
They were knocking on the.
Yeah, I'm like knocking on the door. I'm knocking on the door with the coffee, and I'm like, what the hell's he doing in there? This is where you got the name Godzilla, because you woke up, coming at the camera.
I was late for my show. I overslept. They were banging on the door. They were banging on the Trump bus door to get me up.
Was that?
Oh my God.
Was that Pennsylvania? Was that the
Virginia? I think we were in Virginia. I think that was John Donovan.
Oh, that's
the Virginia.
Yeah.
So we were on the air till like 2 a.m. And then I'm supposed to get up at like 4. It's like 2 hours of sleep. And then you're like, what is wrong with your face? You got to go to these lines in your face. Dude, it's my CPAP mask. If you put that thing on, you wake up, you get lines in your face. Oh, that's what it is. I need to get one of those. Oh God, the things that Saxon and I have been.
That thing collects sweat and coffee.
Those of you that don't know who George Thurgood is, he's an artist. And one of his famous songs is one scotch, one whiskey, one beer. So that's what we were doing that night. We were doing the George Thurgood dance. Okay, guys, great to have you with us. Healthycell.com/Godzilla, promo code Godzilla, 20% off. Get your REM sleep now. NBA. Do you guys dig these playing games, or do you hate them? Just you either love them or you hate them. Let's start with Matthew Lumsden.
Hit it.
I mean, I guess the games themselves, it's meaningful. So I guess it's somewhat fun to watch. But then I'm also watching, I think the Bulls, we had like 4 or 5 teams under 500 playing technically playoff basketball. Like, give me a break. It's a joke. I have no interest in watching the Magic and the Hawks duke it out, 2 sub 500 teams. Yeah. So I understand the concept, I guess, but you're not gonna get me viewing sub 500 teams claiming that they're in the playoffs. I'll sit that one out, but I'm curious to see what everyone else thinks.
Reed?
Past few years, I haven't been much of an NBA watcher. I don't watch a whole lot of basketball. NBA playoffs, I'll watch the championship. It's like people saying, like, how do you watch baseball? Like, how do you watch basketball? That's my thing. How do you watch it? I can't. I've never been able to. The championship's on, I'll throw it on, but that's about it.
Saxman, what do you think of these playing games?
The NBA has a serious problem. It's an unwatchable sport, and they're losing audience and attendance because it's an unwatchable sport. And they're coming up with all these gimmicks. And they're doing the in-season tournament. They're doing this playoff games. It means they're tinkering with the formula because the formula is not working. If the formula was working, they wouldn't be doing this. The NBA has a serious problem long-term, and these are not going to solve their problems. That's the bottom line. So this is just endemic of the problem that the NBA has. It's uninteresting. These playing games, who cares? Nobody. Is it an opportunity for more gambling? Okay, Vegas, hooray, you win. Vegas always wins. But it's just endemic of the problem the NBA has. It's not going to be solved by these gimmicks. Sorry. Not sorry. I don't care. I don't care.
When you say
I don't care.
It's unwatchable. They have an audience problem. Like, define that, Chris.
Well, because they have moved to the NBA three-point shooting bonanza, where they've had, I don't know how many tens of thousands of, I just saw the stat the other day about how many three-point shots they've taken or made this past year. It's like 35,000. It's a jump back to a three-point range and shoot the ball for 3 points. It's just not interesting. It's not watchable. One of the guys I have coffee with every day, not every day, we pop into the Starbucks, the early morning crew. One is a former NBA coach. He was Doc Rivers' coach when they won the assistant coach when they won the finals in 2008. And we talk basketball all the time, and he gets really deep into it. And he's a D1 coach, Richmond, Washington State, and the like. And we talk about, I'm like, tell me what I'm not getting in this game. He says how fast it is and how smart these guys are, which I appreciate as a fan of any sport and have been a participant and a coach and whatever. But it doesn't translate over to the viewer because the viewer doesn't understand the game. It's like it's past the viewer. It's interesting, but to a degree. 82 games throughout the year, it's not that interesting. It's just there's just a storyline that I don't get. They need the Lakers and the Celtics to be in the finals this year. They need that story. It's a disaster for Oklahoma City and Cleveland. It's a disaster, right? It's an absolute disaster. It's like Florida and Tampa Bay for the NHL. Great hockey, bad ratings, and you just not. It's just the NBA has a real problem long term.
So you look at the skyrocketing ratings of this NCAA basketball tournament, both men's and women's, and it was like great games down this stretch. The Cougars come back, then the Cougars collapse. I mean, they had record numbers of viewers. The NCAA got that tournament figured out. I like their playing game format. It's definitely fun. Some of the most competitive games there are. So people are watching college basketball, but then it's not transferring over to the NBA. Matthew, you like me follow this stuff. What is going on here with the NBA? Why have they lost audience? Why is it tanked?
I think there's quite a few things that go into it, but I mean, Chris is spot on. It's not entertaining. There's no draw. I mean, the most entertaining thing I've seen lately is John Morant's throwing grenades into the stand after he hits a 3-pointer. Like, it's like, if that's the most entertaining thing you got going on in the league, come on now. But yeah, if Cleveland and Oklahoma City get in, I mean, those aren't big market teams. They're not. Shea is really good in Oklahoma City, but he's not really a drawable player. Like, I'm not turning on the TV to watch Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I'm not turning on the TV to watch Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell. Like, it's not overly marketable, and it's not entertaining. Like, maybe to Chris's point, if you get a Lakers Celtics final, you get LeBron, you get Luka, I could possibly throw that on, but if it's not that, I'm probably not even going to watch a single game. It's just it's not enjoyable, and there's no marketing at all that's appeasing to a generic person.
Listen,
Well, there's no differentiation in the players, quite frankly. I don't know one player from the next. There's no because the game has been so sterilized. You can't tell players up and down the court who's who and which is which because they're all 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", running. These are fantastic athletes, but the game itself doesn't differentiate for the viewers to go, oh, I can see this. Back in the day, and I hate to do back in the day, but back in the day, Kareem, Magic, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan were different players, and you have Luka and Nikola who are very different players, but they look like the guys who play at lunch at the YMCA. They can shoot the ball and they can pass the ball. They're annoying as hell if you're playing against them, right? But they're really, really good, and MVP level stuff. But you're kind of like, okay, do you really want to watch this? What's the drama here? What's the storyline? When it was Bird and Magic, that was the story. When it was Detroit Pistons, the Bad Boys, and Michael Jordan, there was a story there. There's just nothing there. It's just so sterilized.
Listen, I think juxtapose NBA attendance, which is really tanked, and of course, you have the play-in game. You had the Hawks getting beat yesterday, like whatever, right? Like whatever. You got Dallas trades there, the best player in the NBA. They trade him. They can't even get past the play-in game. So the Mavericks, I mean, that was I thought it was possibly a good trade when they made it, but it turned out to be a disaster. So they trade their best player. But the play-in games, I saw the end of the Hawks game because I kind of feel bad for the Hawks. They go to overtime, they get blown out as usual. But you're right, Chris. It's not watchable. I mean, you turn it on in the final minute to find out what's going on, and like who cares? Now juxtapose this to hockey, right? Hockey set attendance records this season. And it is only going to get better in the playoffs. Now, why is that? What has hockey done? Here's what hockey has done, okay? The game is the same. It is the same game you played with skates in a pond in your backyard. It is the same game. That's number one thing they did. Number two, their salary cap evens everything out. Now they're hyping kids coming out of college. Now you're getting college hockey kids getting drafted, and there's some hype around it because they're really good players. They've done that. But the competitive nature of it has been phenomenal. I mean, you're going to the Stanley Cup right now, and I've said this over and over and over. You got 15 teams that can win this thing. 15 teams, nobody would be, oh my God, I can't believe they won the cup. This thing is so balanced. I mean, I happen to think the Leafs and the Jets are the two teams to beat. We'll see what happens with Ottawa. But that's just me. There's so many teams here. Caps can win the thing. Nobody would be shocked at that, right? I mean, there are just a number of really good teams. Nobody would be shocked if Vegas won. Nobody would be shocked if Colorado won, right? Nobody would be shocked if either team in Florida won. Nobody would be shocked if Dallas won. Go right down the line.
Look, John, bottom line, hockey's a better game.
It's a better game.
It's a better sport. It's a better sport to watch live, and now on television, since the high definition is caught up, you can follow the game on television, whereas before you couldn't. The storylines don't really get more dramatic than beating the crap out of each other for 7 games and shaking hands. It's just a better game to watch. It's similar to me to what, since you've been talking about this, what happens in women's sports. The WNBA, it's just not a great product. Professional volleyball or D1 level collegiate volleyball is far more viewable and watchable as a sport. There's more dynamism. There's more power. There's more speed. There's more scoring. I mean, quite frankly, it's quicker, it's faster, and it's a better sport to watch. So you're going to go, okay, what are my viewing options tonight? The WNBA is on. No, it's not. It's just not. It's just not in the realm of possibilities. But you throw on an average hockey game, it's going to get rambunctious, and it's fast as hell. And it's like, no, let's watch this. And
I know you guys, both you guys, Matthew and Reed, are hockey guys. I know you get it. And I'm gonna turn this over to you guys. One thing Chris said though that I never thought of. This is why we love having him on, right? Because he's so insightful. I never thought about this. High definition TV allows you to follow the puck. I never thought about that
Yes.
because you couldn't, like 10 years ago watching hockey on a TV. It just didn't make it because you couldn't really follow it. Now with high D TV, everybody's got that. You can really follow it better. And of course, as an in-game fan, I mean, there's no better experience than go to a hockey game. It's just so much fun.
Oh,
So especially if you're a Penguins fan,
The
even what you go to a Penguins game, even when you lose, it's I don't know how we still have fun. I haven't figured that out, but you never go out of PPG Arena pissed. So even if they're getting blown out, you had fun.
No, it's a great overall experience. And also, hockey isn't an interminable game. It's 3 20-minute periods, and you're over in less than 2 hours for the most part. NBA just drags on, and then the final minute. Oh my God, the final minute. The final minute is a final 30 minutes at home. You're like, what in the hell is going on? I'll watch the highlights if there are.
All right, I'm going to turn this over to you guys. I got to get out here in a couple minutes. I'll be back about 10:20. Chris Saxman is going to take over the show. He takes it over anyway, so you might as well just let him be the host. There's really no change. And I got to go on Newsmax, and I'll be back in about 20 minutes. In the meantime, Godzilla Wins is going to continue with Chris Saxman, Matthew Lumsden, Reed Chumley. Chris, take it away.
Thank you, John Fredericks. Good luck on Newsmax. Gentlemen, what I want to get into now is college recruiting. How does it work these days? What are you hearing inside the conversations? You've played at a high level, D1 sports, Clemson baseball, West Virginia baseball. What are you hearing from players who probably have connections back to high school and in college? What's going on? What are you seeing and hearing? Let's go to Reed first.
How you doing, Chris? I just think that nowadays it's anything you can do and everything you can do, no matter what it takes, right? If there's somebody that a school wants and they have the budget, they're going to be able to go get that player, and they're going to be able to satisfy that player on whatever he wants to do, while everybody else doesn't either suffers or is not able to recruit the same way a bigger school is. So recruiting now, there's no even playing field. There's everything is way up and everything's way down. There's two opposite extremes and ends to recruiting, and I think the playing field needs to level out before the next few seasons. I mean, it's getting out of hand, I feel like.
When did you first start getting recruited, and what was that like as a young student athlete?
I would say so. I first started getting recruited out of probably straight out of high school. My senior year, I had one offer to a junior college, and it's because my coach made a phone call, and I ended up getting found in a batting cage by former Astros baseball player Lance Berkman. He's a coach at HBU, and he recruited me to go and play there.
Yeah.
And I started getting recruited to West Virginia after my second year there. So that's kind of like my recruiting process, my recruiting trail.
Houston Baptist?
It was a Division I school in Houston. It's been renamed to Houston Christian. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you grew up in
Cypress,
Houston,
Texas. Cypress, Texas, right outside of Houston.
Okay, so that was a local. Because back, and I'm going to do back in the day because we're different generations here. And for the audience, you have to understand these things. You get recruited far more nationally than you ever did. 30, 40 years ago, you'd be lucky to be recruited in state, let alone out of state. So there was an out of state wave there for a while. I was like, oh, you're getting recruited out of state, like that's a big thing. Now it's about the money. Matthew, tell me about your experience.
Mine was a little bit different. I committed as a sophomore. It kind of all started. I was 15 when I got my first offer, so it was kind of like, which looking back, I'm glad they fixed that because that's ridiculous to give 15-year-olds options like that. It's 4 years away. I got no clue what I'm gonna do. But yeah, no, I love hearing every different story. Like it turned out Reed, significantly better ball player, had a crazy year last year. So hearing how things work for each individual is wild. But yeah, started 15, committed when I was 16. But yeah, it was unique.
And what was it? Where were you based? Where'd you
I went to
grow
high
up?
school
Where
in
were you in
Greenville,
high
South
school?
Carolina, so about an hour north of Clemson, so not too far. But was down to Clemson, South Carolina, North Carolina. Honestly, had no intent of going to Clemson. Didn't want to be near home, but then the facilities blew me away. It's just all kind of a perfect storm. Had a new coach at the time. They were doing really well. But I think that's drastically changed now. I think any 17, 18-year-old is going to follow the money. And when LSU's offering anybody $250,000 to go there, I mean.
Well, I don't. JJ Weatherholt stayed pretty loyal after the year he had. So it just all depends.
I think was an anomaly personally, and that was great for him. But that would have been very easy for him to go to an SEC school and make a ton of money. I feel like that was a very rare circumstance, which showed his character. And I feel like that kind of goes. Reed was in the locker room. That goes to West Virginia baseball. I feel like it's a great culture. It's a close knit group of guys. From everything my brothers told me, Reed was Ben's roommate. So I think they've got a culture here that is. I mean, you see them now; they're 33-4, and I think there's
a few outliers that withstand.
Well, that matters.
That withstand the high extreme and the low extreme, and that comes with being a people person and having culture, good coaches. It's not just win, lose, money. You got going to class with your teammates, being in the locker room with your teammates. It's just you create that culture there at the school. It doesn't always have to be about win, lose, money. So,
and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, or offering a differing opinion here, but in collegiate baseball, I think culture matters more. I mean, it matters always, but it matters, I think, more in collegiate baseball because the money's not as significant as especially in basketball. And you don't have a lot of time to create that team culture because there's so many transfers coming in and out every year now. Right now, the churn is pretty significant. Football a little bit more towards culture, but definitely in collegiate baseball. Is that your impression?
Yeah, I think that football. There's always going to be culture. There's always going to be culture. Basketball, there's always going to be culture. Baseball, I feel like you have to create a culture. That's more of an individual game that is played as a team. So whenever you absolutely need your teammates in basketball and football. You get into baseball, one guy can win the game for the whole team. That's you have a guy who goes 4 homers, you'll win the game. You'll have a good pitching outing. You have to have a good culture and you have to have a good team on a baseball team to be successful.
That 100%, because I think it can overcome some talent differentiations, and I think that makes the difference because of the way the game is played, the speed and pace and intensity, and the intellect in the game of baseball versus the power and the raw athleticism. You can push a guy in football and be better. In baseball, you can be 5'7" and go 4 for 4 with 3 home runs and a double. And you just can't that differentiation of the game and the technical aspects of the game. Let's Matthew, do you have anything else you want to pop in on that?
I think both of you guys were spot on. I mean, the most talented teams I've been on have not been the teams that have done the best. I'm sure Reed's probably had similar situations where he's had extremely talented teams or individuals and it didn't pan out. And then one year you might not think you're the best team, but you have that culture. It's a group of guys that are hard-nosed and you just start winning games left and right. So
yeah, that was my experience in high school and summer ball. We had almost the same lineup from high school to summer ball, but it was a different coach. And we would run through a wall for that summer league coach, man. And we would run the table that entire summer. And we played different teams, similarly around our area who were same in high school and same in summer ball. And they're like, damn, y'all are just a completely different team. We're like, yeah, because the coach sets the tone and the culture for the organization. And we had so much more fun and played with so much more intensity.
And I mean, baseball, Reed said it earlier, it's ups and downs. It's a long season and it's the one sport. I mean, I guess with the exception of JJ Weatherholt, you're not going to hit 400 for 56 games most of the time. Like you're going to go through 5-10 game stretches where it's just miserable. So it relies on culture. It relies on perseverance, having a group of guys around you that are still going to support you and pick you up when you're not playing. Like, as good as you are, you're going to have your 0 for 4s. Yeah. But then does the next man up? Does he take care of business? So, I mean, it's a big deal, especially throughout the entirety of the season.
Yeah. That I couldn't agree with you more, especially that's one of the reasons I love baseball so much is because we were talking earlier in the program, Jay, about the different teams and what they're doing. It's early in the season, but the culture is going to win out. The talent's going to win out. But if you lose that culture, talent doesn't mean a damn thing.
I was taught, guys, that you win in baseball by being strong up the middle, pitching and defense. You know, everybody in today's world wants to hit home runs, and it's cool, and chicks definitely dig the long ball. But, man, pitching and defense is what carries the day. I mean, good pitching shuts down good hitting 90% of the time. Great pitching wins championships. It's just how it is. So, you know, my dad played in the bigs for 10 years, and I was taught my whole life the hardest thing to do is hit a baseball. You know, round bat, round ball, and you have no idea what's coming, how fast, where. So I'm with you guys. We could talk baseball forever. I love it. I love it. This is
now since I've been done playing, I think golf might be the hardest thing to do. So
I can
a little bit tougher.
My dad started playing golf when I was a kid, you guys, and he's like, well, yeah, because it's so frustrating because the ball just sits there and looks at you and you're like, I can't hit this thing, you know, especially when you're first starting, but you guys are good athletes. You'll figure it out. Plus, I'm sure you both crush it off the tee.
Just hitting it straight is the issue. But yeah, it's the ball sitting there. At least if I got carved by a guy throwing 97 with just an absolute filthy curveball, I can justify that in my head. I'm like, that checks out. When the ball is not moving and I hit it 500 yards to the left, I can't really justify that mentally. Why it didn't move. It's sitting there. It did not move.
Right. You can tip your hat to the other guy and go, well, sir, you beat me on that one.
My hat to the tee, though. The tee didn't do much.
I had a guy in summer ball, and we've played each other for years and years. We're both catchers. We're like the 2 top catchers in the league. And he comes up, he goes, hey, Sachs. And I'm standing there at the plate with him, and the umpire's behind me. He goes, hey, Sachs, can you throw me just one fastball? There's some scouts here. I'm like, I said, John, you're getting 3 deuces. If you can't hit him here, you can't hit him there. And I sat back down. He put the bat. He goes, God damn it. I was already in his head. I could have thrown him 3 fastballs. He'd never hit the fastballs, right? But when it's just you and it's 140 yards out and you got your 9-iron and you're going, and it's a straightaway shot. There's nothing there. It's a flat lie. It's a flat green, middle of the green. And you got to take that club back on your own, and you got to stick it to the pin. And if you hit it in the bunker, that's you.
If you guys would have played golf, started golf earlier as kids and stuff, it would have been a different thing. And I know, Reed and Matthew, you guys are still young men, but there's just something different about when you're playing. Like, I started caddying when I was 12 years old, and so I was just around the game. And so, I mean, you start off and you're like, you know, you're younger and you hit all these bad shots and it just doesn't have that big effect on you. You have zero ego. So you're like, oh, okay, dude, I just got to go find it over there and just find, and it makes a huge difference. The only thing is it's really easy to get burned out in golf. Like when I would see these kids that we play national events with, and I'm like, oh man, I hope one day I can be as good as him. And when I get to college and play with them, they're done. You know, they're smoking weed, living in like a treehouse in Stanford. These guys are all just completely shot. So it just grinds on you mentally. Sometimes I was talking to some guys the other day in a different podcast. I'm like, why do we still like it? And it's because you have that one day where, you know, you stand up and you go, okay, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to hit there. And you do it. And you're like, okay, this is still cool. You know, I can still. You know, the thing about Rory that makes him so lovable is he does all the impossible things that nobody can do, and then he jacks up all the easy things. You know, he wins the U.S. Open last year if he makes a 30-inch putt and like a 40-inch putt on the last 3 holes. This year, he's swooping balls around the trees, over water, hitting it in there 4 feet, and then jacking.
And misses the 4-footer.
Yeah. And so everybody's like, damn, if I could just putt for this guy. I mean, I know I'm a 15 handicap, but I can make a 3-footer. You know, everybody, it gets in your head so much, you guys, that if you don't get back to see ball, hit ball, you just die. It just because like I couldn't make it from this far if I'm thinking about what's on the line.
And when Rory was lining up those shots and he was in the woods and those two in the final round, and the lady commentator goes, "He's got a window," and I'm going, "The hell he does! He doesn't have a window. He doesn't even have a floor. There's nothing there." And he sticks it. You know, you're like, and then misses the putt. You're like, damn, because you get so jacked up for the shot you just made. You just get over the ball.
The shot he hit on number 7, you guys, was one of the luckiest things that's ever happened to him. Now, it's amazing that he's able to take the loft and get the speed that this little dude creates is just. I'm 6'5" and I have a lot of speed. I used to. This guy's speed is ridiculous. I mean, Bryson's coming unglued on every tee shot, and Rory's just up there nice and smooth and hammering it. He's 1 yard behind him or 2 yards in front of him. Rory's so good. And when he hit his shot on 13, you guys, from a perfect lie at Augusta with all of the entire state of Georgia left that's moving the ball towards the hole and hit it in the water, I'm like, this is on. I mean, this is on. We have no idea what's going to happen.
It made me feel pretty good about myself as a golfer. It's like, there we are. And we're Jay, I have to ask you, the Detroit Tigers uniform on the back looks like from the late 60s. What's the number there?
My dad played 7 years for the Tigers. I have one of my older sisters, 3 older sisters. One of my sisters was born there. Those are some game used bats. I don't have any of my stuff on the wall. I got a bunch of my dad's stuff. It's really cool. It's just, you know, when I walk into my office, I want to be thinking about him and his career and the game. And, you know, guys, that jersey is wool. And they played 95% of their games. Well, I think all the games when my dad's era, daytime. And every weekend they played doubleheader. That thing was nasty. He told me that, you know, if he had a couple of base hits, he wouldn't wash it. And I'm like, whoa, that thing has got to be beast in the middle of these Midwest summers.
Well, I grew up going to Tiger Stadium, and my first teams were the Kaline Northrup, Aurelio Rodriguez, Billy Freehand, Norm Cash, Dave
my
Cash,
dad played center field.
Brinkman.
My dad played center field when Al Kaline was a rookie in right field. Yeah, so I've actually got to meet Al Kaline, was really a cool dude, and said nice things about my dad in a couple of pro-ams up in Detroit. Yeah, Nice. He retired the year I was born, and so I didn't get to see him play anything. He played in the reenactment of a Cardinal-Yankee game when I was like 10 years old, so I got to meet Stengel and DiMaggio and Whitey Ford and Yogi and all those guys. But I'm 10. I'm like, I don't know. I was like as tall as Yogi when I was 10. You know, I was looking at him.
I'll tell you DiMaggio's story here. I was out for a business trip out in San Diego, and it rained all week, so we didn't get a chance to play golf. And I had taken my clubs out there, and I'm like, well, hell, I'm going to try to get out here. So I went out to the range before my flight. And I'm young. I'm like, you know, upper 20s, and I'm just crushing the ball. I'm hitting like the top of the net in the back of the driving range. I think I'm clearing the range. And I think people are, and I see people over in front of me looking at me. I'm going, all right, I must be jacking the hell out of the ball, right? And then I'm hitting a few more drives, and I go, they're not looking at me. They're looking behind me. And I turn, and it's Joe DiMaggio on the next box. And I'm like, holy shit, man, this is unbelievable. Joe DiMaggio, I was like, he had the smoothest swing I've ever seen in any sport. He made Ernie Els and Freddie Couples look
and dude,
look
he
jerky.
was married to
was
Marilyn
just
Monroe. I mean, that's pretty sweet too.
Well, you heard the story about Pete Rose going to Vietnam with DiMaggio, didn't you?
I don't think
Tell
so.
it.
I'll let the kids Google it. There's a reason why he was so successful with the ladies. I'll leave it there. It was Pete Rose tells a hell of a story on it. They went to Vietnam to visit the troops. Anyway, Jay, where are you now? What are you doing?
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. I still play a little bit. I've got a golf show that comes on after this called Golf with Jay Delsing. We're in 50 different markets. I've got a local show that's 2 hours. The national show's an hour. I've got a bunch of different things that I do. I got a little app that I designed for golf that we're getting ready to release. Chris, I'm the luckiest guy you'll ever meet. I'm 64. I've never had to work. I've been chasing my ball into the weeds for ever since I can remember. And then I get to come on the show and we just talk sports. And this is my favorite time of the year, although the Masters is done, but we got NHL playoffs and Major League Baseball's on every night. So I've got something to do and watch and plug into every night.
That's fantastic. My brother-in-law is a golf pro down in Myrtle Beach. He's got his own school called the Classic Swing Golf School. Ted Frick, just an outstanding for the youngsters on the table here. I would suggest you go get a good coach and play as much golf as you can, especially before you get married and have kids. People say, "What's your handicap?" I'd say 4 kids, and they'd look at me like,
"It's hard, man." You start getting kids,
can't get out.
Like, "Yeah, honey, I'm going to go out and tee it up with the boys," and it'd be like, "Yeah, no, that 5
Yeah, do it early before they wake up."
Yeah.
Yeah. Before you hear that gun racking in the background.
Yeah.
She is not happy. All right, let's get into a little bit more depth on the NHL playoffs since Jay, you're watching a bit of that, and Matthew and Reed, you're probably a little less adjacent to the NHL. Is my impression?
Matt's brother is the one who introduced me to NHL. His family's real rich in NHL history. I'll let him take this one.
Yeah, my whole family's Canadian, so it was kind of forced upon me. We were playing hockey before baseball. Just skating was not my forte, so ended up on the ball field instead. But no, big hockey family. So I'm pumped for the postseason coming up.
Well, that's fantastic. What team did you root for?
Huge Oilers fan. Huge Oilers fan. Yeah. Which really? Unfortunately, we just refused to get a goalie that is halfway serviceable. So it's just pain and misery watching Draisaitl and McDavid just be the best 2 players in the league borderline year in and year out and can't win anything. But hopefully that changes this year. I'm telling myself that maybe Stuart Skinner will figure it out.
It was close last year, Matthew. I mean, it was close. I thought game 7,
I thought once it got to 7, I thought we had it after being down 3-0. It wasn't close, and then we got it close, and I would have rather just lost in 4 at that point.
I know. It's just heartbreaking. Just rips your heart out.
Jay, since you're in St. Louis, not a Blues fan. Did you grow up a Red Wings fan?
No, I'm a Blues fan. I grew up my whole life here, and we hate the Red Wings. Okay. We used to have a bunch of Red Wings fan in the face day down at the old barn where I grew up. The Red Wings, the Yzerman teams, they used to come in, and we had Gretzky here. Gretzky played here for a minute, and great epic, like triple overtime game against the Red Wings that we wound up losing. Grant Fuhr was playing goal for us. We had Pronger and McGinnis on the back line, and we just couldn't get it done. But then 19, everything changed. I got to tell you a funny story about the Stanley Cup. We're beating Boston in Game 7, 4-1, and there's like 39 seconds left. My little brother and I are just huge Blues fans. He lives in Delray Beach, Florida, so I call him, and I'm like, "Dude, we're gonna win the Stanley Cup." He's like, "Are you kidding? There's still 39 seconds left. We could blow this," and he hangs up. And I was like, yeah, we just felt like there was a curse on our hockey team for so long because we'd have some great teams. We'd have President's Cup trophy teams and be out in the first round. And so, yeah, we don't know what we got here, but this team won 13 of its last 16 games, the best record in hockey since the 4 seasons. And we have, 4 nations, and we have Jordan Binnington. So Binnington can steal a series. That's what's going to make it fun for me to watch. Winnipeg usually beat our ass every time we play. So I don't really know what to expect. The Blues are plus 160 in Game 1. And Game 1 is a kind of crap shoot. So I'm just going to watch this one and not bet it. I'm going to root like hell for the Blues. Maybe have a cold one while I do it. But I don't know. I don't know what to think.
Well, Reed, for yourself and more of the uninitiated viewers here on NHL playoff hockey in particular, it is so intense. My suggestion is pick a team,
Dallas Stars.
Ride that team.
Dallas Stars.
Good one to pick this year.
Not that good. Not that team. Never pick the Stars. That's just like that's no. Don't do that. Don't do that. I was hoping you'd be a little bit more intelligent, but what are you going to do? Penguins.
Those are the two most I heard
this year.
Yeah.
We've had a good run. We're rebuilding right now. You know, I'm not going to knock back-to-back Stanley Cups in 16 and 17. Just to have some down years, not make the playoffs. In a salary cap league, you can only do but so much for so long. It catches up to you. They're going to move around. The thing is, you catch a hot goalie from a betting perspective. If you catch a hot goalie, you ride that goalie. You ride that guy in the playoffs because they just see so much more. They are so dialed in. I mean, from a storyline perspective, I'd love to see an all-Canadian Stanley Cup finals, like Winnipeg, Toronto. Toronto is so overdue, but after a while, beating up on them just becomes a little bit boring because it's like, well, they're going to implode because they're the Maple Leafs. And having grown up in for a time in Hockeytown, USA, Detroit, I was an early Red Wings fan before the second six came online, really. So I grew up watching Alex Del Vecchio, Marcel Dion, Gordie Howe, and those Ted Lindsay, and those guys growing up. Not so much Ted Lindsay, but back in the day, it was Canadians, Maple Leafs, Blackhawks, Rangers, and Bruins, and that was it. And then they had the second six come in, and then it kind of expanded. But now you can watch hockey all around the world, and it's spectacular. I love watching hockey. The Canada America series, that was great fun. They should do that every year, 5 games.
We were talking about a salary cap league and how difficult it is. And the Oilers, Matthew, are a great example. They got Draisaitl, they got McDavid. But the Blues poached 2 absolute studs from the Oilers last year in those offer sheets. Broberg has had a really solid year, 6'4", maybe the best skater on our team. And I think he's 23 years old. But Dylan Holloway might be a star in the league, and he's out. I don't think he's going to play in this first series, but man, has it been fun. All of a sudden these two kids got a chance to play every night, and they Holloway lit it up. I mean, he was a point a game a guy ever since Montgomery started coaching here. So we hired Montgomery when he got fired from Boston, which I still can't figure out why Boston fired him.
Right.
And then we dropped Drew Bannister like a bad habit so we could get Montgomery in here. And he's, 20 games over 500 since he got here.
Yeah, great coach. No, I think overall, we before he came on, Jay, we're talking sort of the overall trend lines of the NBA, Major League Baseball, football. The overall trend line here for hockey, the NHL, is larger, more athletic, more dynamic players at a younger age. And I think that the league is just filling up with absolute stud athletes, whereas 20 years ago they weren't going and playing hockey growing up. Now, because of the expansion of the game, because of the money, I think it's attracting a heck of a lot more athletes, and it's showing up on the
same thing's happening for the goaltenders, you guys. The goalies in hockey back when I was a kid were the worst skaters on the team. And like, dude, you can't play, so you just see if you can get hit by the puck every now and again. But you're going to watch the Hellebuck play for the Jets today. He's my height, weighs 240 pounds, and blocks so much of the net. So it's the same way in the EPL. What the keepers are all looking like, they're all my height. They're all, 230 pounds, and they're athletic, so they can go get it. And you see the how that's changing, and that's all a focus of money, guys. I mean, everybody's making just tons of stew, and guys are playing golf now and bypassing some of the other sports because we finally are getting paid actually the golfers are way overpaid right now because of LIV and everything, but that's a different story.
Well, let's jump into golf since you went there, and LIV and the PGA Tour. Is it a bad thing long term to have had LIV as an experience, because it seems to have blown up the purses? You have more money going to the players. Is there ever a downside for a sport when you see that dynamic?
I don't know how this thing is going to play out. I got a bunch of friends on the inside, and about 6 weeks ago, Tiger came out and said, we're close. We're going to get – and Tiger doesn't say anything. I mean, you go to an interview with Tiger, it's like cliche. He doesn't give you anything. But he said, we're really close, and then I found out we're not close at all. And the problem is, I don't have any trouble with these guys taking the money. I mean, everybody wants to get paid. Everybody wants a bag. That's fine. But why are you wanting to come back now? Rory passed up $700 million. You're going to let John Rahm come in after his contract's over and after he I mean, there's no way in hell. These guys just aren't do it. And
You don't
they're
think?
talking about trying to suspend them. But I mean, you've got the PGA Tour in this entity, and then you've got Live, and the Saudis just have all the money. They don't care, and so they're trying to poach the best players that they can. But look what's happening to the players once they go over and play there. It's an exhibition style golf. It's 3 rounds. It's a shotgun start. And by the time these guys come back and play in a major, they're barely competitive. I mean, DJ looks like he's just on, permanent vacation. He's gained like 15 pounds. He's still walking around with Paulina everywhere he can, which is, whatever. But it's just, I just don't know how.
That's not whatever. Stop. That's not whatever. That's tip of the hat. Good sir. We wish you the very, and I'm sorry, Jay, who's really losing here and who's really winning? At the end of the day, what are we really talking about here, right? I mean, the guy's making bank. He's with a gorgeous woman. What is our job here? What is our goal? And I'm going to go, DJ.
Oh,
okay,
no, there's no question.
What did you do? People are like, John Rahm's not really playing well. What did he sign for Liv, and what's his role here?
But if you look at him, Chris, he looks miserable to me. I mean, he wasn't even he winds up finishing T14 at Augusta, but he wasn't even an issue. He barely made the cut. Did you see what Koepka and Koepka made a 7 on 18, and I think DJ made an 8 on 18 to wind up missing the cut by a couple. It's just, from a competitive juice standpoint, I don't think that's the switch you can just flip on. I mean, yeah, you might be able to play some good golf and try to be trending for those majors, but if you're out there just, so I had a buddy that said, we had these really cool hospitality seats on the driving range at a Live event. And so everybody comes out at the same time, the music's playing, everybody's having a cocktail, it's a great time. But then after the round, they're like, let's go back and watch everybody practice. Nobody showed up. The range at Live are empty because they're like, dude, let's go home. We don't care. I mean, we're making the money we need to make. It doesn't matter. There's no cut. Let's go home. So they're not working very hard.
Yeah, I liked the interview with DeChambeau after round 3 on Saturday. He was like, "I'm looking forward to getting back to the range." I'm like, "The range? You just finished, and like you got a round tomorrow." But that's how much he's dialed in to win and compete for that. And I guess that's the balance between, because we talked about the individual versus the team sport, and the individual is going to have different motivations. But if it does swing back to what really matters here is winning these Grand Slam events and getting the career Grand Slam and being that competitive guy, not necessarily the size of the purse, the size of the prize, the affluenza, if you will, all the things, all the money, and they go, the purity of the sport, the game really does override that. Yeah. There's a balance in any of this. It's a balance in anything. But because when you see what happened with Rory, my God, the interview in the Butler cabin when he was talking about how nervous he was over that putt on 18 in the playoff, and I'm like, nervous. I didn't see sweat bullet one coming off your forehead. And how
it's the craziest.
We would look. We collectively 5 out of 5. We would have had some bodily fluids excrete in our lower regions had we been at 18 on that moment. Right, we'd have been there. But to have that guy seem so poised and composed and hit that putt, I don't care if it's 3 feet or not, and win the damn thing. But the emotion that poured out of that poor kid, you couldn't help but love the story.
Absolutely. I think the bottom line, DeChambeau is the guy that's only really looks like he's really still working on his game. There's some tragedy in this because a kid named Cameron Smith he had just won the Players Championship. He won the Open Championship, and then he jumps to Live. And I mean, I don't even know if he's I don't know where he is. And I used to love watching him play. I knew him a little bit. Yeah. I don't blame him for taking the money, but man, their games just they're not there right now. Most of them. Patrick Reed is a guy I miss a lot. I love the black hat. You never know what he's going to do. And he winds up finishing 3rd, and he had a chance to win if he doesn't 3-putt.
He was like a 6-foot putt away from being in the playoff.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So this was the most.
And because he holed out on 17. You see, remember that? It's like one hop.
Man, I needed therapy. I was like, what are we going to God? And Justin Rose is a great dude. And so it's really hard to not want him to win after such a good – and we had all sorts of bets flying. Back when I was playing guys in a playoff, if you had the low score on the 4th round and then got into a playoff, like 75% of the time, that dude won the playoff. So we had all sorts. I was taking all sorts of plays from some friends, and I was paying out after that because I wanted Rory to win, but I didn't think. I thought just because Justin Rose had just played so well. Justin Rose made 10 damn birdies on Sunday. 10. He only made 3 pars, I think, or 4 pars. I don't know what happened. It was just like it's crazy.
He went 32 with a bogey on the back, didn't he?
On the second nine. He's got 4.5 32 17 for par. If he makes that and birdie's 18, we don't even have a playoff. I mean, you just don't see top players missing short putts as much as you did.
No, it's tough, and those greens are glass at that stage of the tournament. That was probably the most fun I've had watching a golf tournament.
Better than watching
years. And since
oh
God.
I feel like we're just going to get cheap shots for the rest of the show. Then, until this one's over.
We're just missing threes, aren't we?
When they do make them, he's throwing grenades into the stand, so that keeps me entertained.
It's so exciting. So, yeah, John, we've covered some ground. We're sorry that you're back.
No, we like Saxman as the host. I love you as the host. I don't want to host this thing. You're better than me. I love that Saxman just jumps in. Think about Saxman. You guys don't get Chris Saxman. How long have we known each other? We go back 15 years. I'll call him up and he'll just jump in. We do the election. Our election night shows are the best in the nation. I mean, everybody says that they're the best in the nation. But it doesn't matter what it is. I'll say, hey, Saxman, just call in now. We got to talk about this topic. And now he goes on video. It doesn't really matter what it is, right? So he was jumping there, Johnny, on the spot.
Look, you don't have to be right. Look, this is just about being opinionated. You don't have to be right. You just got to say something that people can go, oh, I can see that, and then they just gonna go, all right.
Stephen has a career on it.
Not to get into our show during the week, Saxman, but the Virginia gang is taken off. That's got a life of its own now, kind of like the Peach Crew. Yeah. So we're doing graphics around it, but that's kind of fun. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was at a bar. We were talking with some guys about various musical artists, and we were talking about Springsteen and and John Mellencamp. I brought up John Mellencamp. I said, the guy really hasn't changed his style, and I really like the fact that he stayed with who he was and is and been successful with it. And it's just he did it and he's riding it, and that's a good thing. It's like the Stones. When you go see a Stones concert, what do you listen to? Hot Rocks. It's the album from 1970, early 70s, whatever it is. It's the greatest hits. No one wants to hear the new stuff. Why would you pay $300 to go to Titan Stadium in Nashville, fly there with your wife, and listen to their new songs? I don't give a crap about those, right? But when you sit there and say something definitive that people go, well, yeah, I agree with that. Well, this one guy talked about John Mellencamp. He came back. He repeated the same damn thing I had just said 30 seconds ago. And I'm like, you didn't even put any thought into it. You just sounded like it was okay. And I was like, well, there's something to this opinion stuff. So anyway, sorry.
That's a good rant.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's good.
I don't think the boys know who John.
I know you guys did hockey while I was doing battle with the communist libtards. I got to give back, man. You got to pay it forward. I got to break in our show. None of the millennials are here, so they can't chide me. But I had to do battle with the communist libs. But I tell you what, guys, I bet that I can't believe I got 10-1 on the Jets to win the Stanley Cup. I got them in the futures. I so feel good about that. But I just got to give you my 2 picks for today, right? Lock hockey locks, right? Number 1, I love the Capitals at home minus 190. It's never fun to lay 2-1, Matthew, but the Capitals are unbeatable at home. Montreal is smoke and mirrors, right? I mean, they played pretty good this season. Smoke and mirrors. They're not going to go in that Washington win this first game at home. So that's my number 1 pick. Washington minus 190. The other game I like today, Matthew, and you're going to bet the other team is I like Toronto at home minus 160. I love the Leafs. I know the history. I know. But if sometime in this franchise's history, and they got a great team now with a great defense, they are going to win a home game. And this is the game they've got to win. If they get beat by the Senators, the narrative is going to start immediately. As soon as the game is over, the narrative will start. Can't win at home, can't win playoffs, can't do this, can't do that. Same old Leafs. It's your father's Leafs, smoke and mirrors. They got to win this game at home. So that's my 2 picks today: Leafs minus 160 at home, and Caps minus 190.
John, Brady Kachuk. That's all I got to say. He is going to rock the house up at Air Canada Center today.
Listen. I got a text here from my general manager in West Virginia, WV The Torch, Michael Pasqua, who says he's a WrestleMania fan. I have no idea what that is. He says John Cena over Cody Rhodes for the WWE title. Isn't that fake? Isn't wrestling like fake news?
It's already determined, right?
Yeah, it's already determined.
Yeah.
How do you make a pick? It's like,
can you bet that?
Bumper cars.
Yeah.
That's like ABC picking questions for a presidential debate. You know what they're going to go with. You know the outcome. It's David Muir.
Saxman,
like,
Jack
okay.
is never going to not host the show again after today.
He's out.
Because he can't come in. Like, if we were doing this and my older son, Jack, who's in charge of this whole thing, was here, he'd be cutting you off. He'd be cutting me off, say, we don't talk about politics. And then he'd be defending ABC, but he's not here. When the cat's away, the mice will play. I mean, that's just the way the world works.
That's great.
Hey,
You're
this is
doing
new
great.
for me. I'm fresh.
You're doing great, dude.
I got my coffee.
I'm at the box
Just wind
there.
me up.
I'm at the
Already got
radio
my
box
lunch.
at the
I got
game,
good.
right? So you got the backdrop here. So anyway, Pasqua says that DraftKings lets you bet on WWE. What?
Wow.
What
Yeah, he just
They
said
allow
that.
that?
Pasqua said it.
Wow.
what don't they allow you to bet
Why
on?
would they do that?
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a max.
Next time they can bet on Dancing with the Stars. Who gives a crap?
Oh God. Lori says, I am loving sports plus culture plus politics. Saxman's fire. So Saxman, you got your own fan club going. And Mitch, I tell you what, Mitch,
Fantastic.
we're gonna start calling Mitch
A new follower on Twitter.
Who was that guy that said he had a headache on the first base for the Yankees? Wally Pip. And then
Oh yeah.
Lou
he gets
Gehrig
Wally
played
Pipp.
like 90,000 straight games. He never got in again. That's like Mitch.
Well, I
Wally
think,
Pip.
didn't he mess up his ankle?
No, he
sliding
said
in
he
the
had a
third or
headache.
something like that. Wally Pip.
He didn't want to play the second game of a
that was a
doubleheader. He was a Yankee starting first baseman. He was hungover, and the second game he said he had a headache. And they put in Lou Gehrig. The guy never saw first base again for the rest of his life.
That was it.
21-30 later.
Start calling Mitch Lou Gehrig, Wally Pip. But anyway, I don't mean to
You got
digress.
shipped to Scranton.
Go on to whatever the next topic is.
At WWE on DraftKings. Oh God. Like DraftKings is worried about losing money on that one. God help us.
Guys, have you been on the Underdog app yet? Have you checked out Underdog?
No, tell us about it.
So Underdog has got an app. So when Missouri, we're not live. We still have to do only fantasy. We don't come live for sports betting till December. But I've worked out an arrangement with Underdog. If you go and put J24 on there, they'll give you 50% of whatever. If you put $100 in, they'll give you 50. But then send me your username and we'll get you some more love. They're making a big push and they want people to check out their app, and so you'll get some free money. J24 is the code, but it's fun. You can
Free money. Free money?
Yeah, what they'll do is
what is it?
What's the code for that?
J24. No, put J24. Then John, text me your J@jdelsigolf.com. You can email me your username, and I'll have the boys throw some extra money. They gave my brother
does the app
$200
do?
yesterday down in Delray, so they're going to be doing all sorts of dumb prop bets and having fun with the golf portion of it. Yeah,
Let me ask you guys a betting question, right? Diamondbacks Cubs under 7.5. They're scoring a combined like 92 runs a game.
Over.
The wind's blowing out. Why is this game? Matthew Lumsden? Why is this game only 7.5 runs?
I don't want to say Vegas
Who's
is
pitching?
wrong because I feel like that's not the case, but overvaluing Zach Gallen, maybe, possibly. I don't know. I mean, both these teams can hit. I mean, it's not like Wrigley's prone to keeping unders. Like, ball gets flying once that wind picks up, so I like it.
Well, Paul Skeens
After
today
yesterday's-
minus
After yesterday's,
170.
I like that. I like Skeens.
Yeah,
Has
the
he
only-
won a game yet this year,
'Cause they got
guys?
the guy-
He's had some bad luck. They have not been scoring any runs for him, have they?
He's 2-1. I think he's 2-1.
It's tough.
I know
He's tough to bet
Ben
against.
Lively's
He's
not a
2-1.
good pitcher for Cleveland either, so I like that.
Yeah, he's got a whip of like 1-3,
Yeah,
1-3,
got Hunter Green on
I
the mound
think.
today too. Best pitcher in MLB. So go find the Reds.
He's a beast. God, ride that kid. That's the unknown in the league as far as from a betting perspective.
Oh, he's
Ride
a
Hunter
stud.
Green
He's
right now.
He's last year. It was Scooble
God.
for last year. That was my guy. Anytime he's on the bump in Detroit, just go take the Tigers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
right.
the
100%.
Orioles are overvalued here. They're minus 118 against Hunter Green, and Hunter Green's basically pick 'em minus 102. So I like the Reds here. I mean, the Reds actually are not playing that bad. They're a better team than meets the eye, but I agree with Matthew. Hunter Green is like he's the new Scoble.
If you
Right.
get to watch Ellie Dela Cruz play baseball, you'll
Stud.
get jacked up about
Stud.
playing baseball again. He's a 6'7" shortstop. He can absolutely fly. He can rake. He's a little air prone still, but he is fun to watch play, man.
What do you think of the Reds' new manager,
Fun to watch.
Saxman? Terry Francona.
Hey, proven. I mean, a winner might be a great dynamic with the team that they have, especially with Ellie De La Cruz and Hunter Green. He could really bring that organization together. They got a lot of holes. Let's be honest, but it's a far more exciting team. Can we just talk about something more important? These horrible City Connect
Yes.
uniforms that we are subject
Yes.
to on Friday nights. It's just nauseating to watch these things.
Especially when you go from something super iconic to something that looks like a church league softball team.
Garbage. They aspire to church league softball. It's just garbage.
I'm not down. All the old
Garbage.
guys are going to rail against it. The boys are up there going, "Boy, shut up, guys. It's fine." They're
No. I'm completely against all of the City Connect, all of the jerseys that are not traditional. I like the traditional feel, I like the traditional look. I don't like the Yankees at all, but I like the way that they have kept it kind of traditional over the years.
It's like they went with facial hair now, which I'm
I
kind of
get
seeing how that plays out. But no, anyway, getting back to Cincinnati. The reason I went to City Connect jerseys is because Cincinnati's is one of the worst, and they have some of the best uniforms ever. Some of the best uniforms, and their normal home whites and way grays were iconic to Reed's point. Just iconic stuff. Why would you screw with like damn near perfection in a uniform? And I hate
Who
Cincinnati.
else is going to
But
pitch
they've
in
got a great
Cincinnati
uniform.
besides Hunter? Do they have anybody that can't get anybody out? Because we see them a lot in St. Louis. We're down. The Cardinals are going to be bad this year, but I don't see the Reds being able to.
they
pitch.
beat the Astros 2 out of 3.
That doesn't take
mean,
much. Come on now.
I know.
I didn't think
That's
they
what I was
I
going to
didn't
say,
think
bro.
they
We
were
got
the
Trump
Twins.
on here too. We got Michael
the Twins
King,
and we're
the best
still
record in
under 500.
baseball, only minus 118 against Houston tonight. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I like. I'm not
Padres are
gonna
a way
like
better team.
bad karma,
That's a great point, though. It's a great point. It's a
but
great
I
question.
like that bet.
So-
I like
since-
that bet,
same with-
Matthew. I mean, I can't bet him because it's bad karma when you bet against your team. It's always bad karma. I never do it. But if I was recommending it, Houston has not won 2 games in a row the entire season, not once.
Michael King's a good pitcher. Padres got the best record in the league.
And Winniski pitched pretty good the other day, but they've not won 2 in a row. Hader closed the game out yesterday. Means he can't come back today. Now you're stuck with whoever they bring in. They don't have anybody in long relief. So basically, if Winniski gets knocked out in the 4th inning, game's over. So I think, I think it's only like minus. I think San Diego's what minus 118
on DK.
That might be the best bet tonight on the card.
John, why didn't the Astros bring Bregman back?
We didn't want to pay him we didn't want to pay him. It's simple. I mean, there's owners that are in this thing. They don't care. They found a way to make money. Fans like me still tune them in, buy their products, turn out, And so we're pissed for a week, but now we're back to the team. But they let Bregman go for nothing. I get it. I mean, the Presley trade was stupid because they got nothing. Basically, they wanted to dump his payroll off on the Cubs. We can certainly use him now. The Tucker thing I defended because he's going to get $500 million. They're not going to pay that. So we got a couple good players in return. They had no choice but to do that. But they should have found a way to sign Bregman back. They didn't. And getting rid of Presley, even though he didn't like the setup role, I get all that. Keep him for another year, pay him, because that was his opportunity. We got 1/8 inning guy now, and so you're not going to get through with playoffs 180 games with Hader. You need other players, and Abreu has not looked sharp all season. So that to me was it's just a stupid move.
One of the great stories I don't think people are talking about are the Athletics.
That's a good lineup. They can hit. Those kids are good.
That they're I mean, for their situation or structurally, you look at it, you're like, how are you close to 500 playing in a AAA ballpark with so much influx for your organization, and your guys are out there raking and getting it done? You're like, and that closure that they have, that's one of the great stories of unreported stories, I think, in Major League Baseball right now.
It might be the next Moneyball.
Could
right?
be. Could
Resurgence of the A's. I mean, they've taken to that minor league park. I mean, it's kind of fun. I've heard. I've not been there. Obviously, it's in Sacramento, but I've talked to a couple people that were there actually 2 weeks ago, and said it was a ton of fun because you're it's different. You're that much closer. It only seats 18,000. You're that much closer in. The foul lines are closer in. You can really talk. You just have a conversation with the players. You're behind the dugout. That's closer in. So, but look, they hit. They've got decent pitching, but that closer. I mean, they got a lead in the 9th inning. That game's over. So you got that kind of a combo. You're not your father's Oakland A's.
Well, if you're Las Vegas, from a sports fan perspective, you've got 3 competitive realities in Las Vegas, whereas 30 years ago you were shut out. So from a destination standpoint, from a gambling perspective, gaming perspective, that whole thing is changing the dynamic. And with Godzilla bets, John, especially with your forte in baseball gambling, you are prime time, brother. And it's exciting to watch from your business perspective.
We got to talk about why are you so good at hockey and baseball?
Because they're the same. They're the same.
Here, John and I have talked about this. He's broken the code. They are both very streaky betting opportunities, but because there are so many more plays, the average throughout the season averages out, and you can play in that reality versus football is more difficult because there are fewer plays and the dynamics there's too much at risk. There's too much risk in football to be successful. In hockey and baseball, you can manage all of the decision making and the outcomes as a result. So if they get on a streak, it's from John's perspective. I think he's nailed it.
Notice we didn't talk about the NBA.
Still don't care.
I
still don't care.
I think I made 3 bets in the NBA this season. I was 0 for 3. I don't think I won a college basketball game. I'd have to think back. I don't think I won a single college basketball game.
The favorites were
and football, college football, I was way under. Pro football, just fade me. I mean, whatever I say on this show, just write it down and bet the opposite. But baseball and hockey, I lose money in football, and then I got to borrow money from Ann, and she bitches about it, and then I borrow it from her, and then I want it all back and give it back to her. This has been happening for 5 seasons. It's stupid. She says, well, just don't bet football. Don't bet basketball.
That's fair.
That's fair.
March Madness is there's no madness anymore to it. There's some drama, but it's not what it used to be. NIL has killed March Madness. You're going to know who the final 32 and Sweet 16 are pretty much going to be.
No mid-majors anymore.
There's no mid-majors. ECU is not coming on board. Davidson's never going to make a run again. And that's just the way that game's going. Okay, fine.
Well, that's because of the money. They can't. You know,
Well, this
they're
is
buying all
the
the
whole
best.
thing. This is what we're talking about. You're
Yeah, they're buying all
betting.
the best players.
Why would you bet on college basketball early in the season? It's stupid. And
Right.
you get to the March Madness, you can go Final Four. It's dramatic. It's interesting because it's a single elimination tournament. That's exciting. It's very exciting. It's different. But the NBA 7-game series probably not going to happen that much.
You know what? One team in baseball that's intriguing me. I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. This is strictly from a gambling perspective. I'm intrigued by Miami. They're about a 500 team. They have better pitching than meets the eye. They got good contact hitters up and down the lineup, and they're a very competitive team. And I don't bet against them because they're normally you have to lay a big price on them, and they're winning games. They're a little bit tougher at home, but I don't know if anybody's followed them. Matthew, what do you think this season about the Marlins?
I think they're significantly overachieving at the moment. I still don't think they're very good. I think Alcantara is good. I think the Cabrera kid that threw, if he can find the strike zone, if he can hit the broadside of a barn on a given day, he'll be good. I don't think they're a very good team. I think they lack talent, and I think assuming the Braves will figure it out. I mean, that's a tough division. The Mets are good. The Phillies are good. Yeah, I think it could be a long season.
Yeah, I think they'll finish under 400.
You guys think the Tigers are overrated?
No,
I do not. I think they're the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Reed?
I would say it's up in the air. Marlins aren't going to be there. Tigers might be there. You never know. Just like the Braves, you never know.
Yeah, we know.
Those young kids are we spent so much money on the Tigers last year.
Miami's opening series, they were losing in the 7th inning to the Pirates in all 4 games. And the only reason they won is not because of the Marlins. It's because the Pirates imploded in their bullpen in the last 3 games of that series. Otherwise, they are 5-14. That's
Guys,
not
how hard is it to watch bad baseball? When you're like, you walk 3 guys and the next guy just, hits a home run. And so, like you're saying, Sex, these bad baseball, when you're trying to close out games, you're like, oh, guys.
Okay, what about
if you're hesitant and if your club's up in the 8th or 9th by 3 runs and you're not sure you're going to win, like you can put the beer down and go to bed. If you're not that guy, your team's not that good.
No.
Agree.
That's pretty good.
Or you're playing the Dodgers. That's a possibility as well.
You're playing the Dodgers. Yeah. What is the other? I mean, that's right. Look, Saxman, you're right. I mean, I watch Astro games every night, but I have to go to bed early. So I can't stay up, 10:30, 11 o'clock, whenever these games end. But if they got a lead and, it's the 7th inning and I know that Hader's coming in the 8th, I go to bed and I get up, they won. Hader's been lights out. It's interesting, Matthew and Reed. I don't know where I was, but the first game that Hader pitched this season, the first game, I think it was against the Mets. And he walked a couple guys, and then there was, we finally got out of it, and they won the game 3-2 or 2-1 or something. And Joe called me. He calls me from wherever he was, and he said Hader's going to have 50 saves, and I'm like, what? It's like the first game of Mountain, he had 2 walks. Joe's like, no, that slider that he's got is back. That thing bit. A couple were off the plate. That bit he's going to have 50 saves. So far, he's got 6, and it's like April, so he might be onto something. Let's get to the biggest untold story in the major leagues. We got a couple of minutes. Chicago Cubs. They're beating everybody. They're scoring 10, 15, 12 runs a game. They have decent pitching. They got Kyle Tucker. They got my Presley guy. But all of a sudden, out of the blue, the Cubs are winning games. Let's go around the table. Are they for real? Reed Chumley.
Cubs, I don't think so. I don't think they're the real deal. I don't think they have a stacked enough lineup like some of the better teams, and I don't think they have the best starting rotation, but that's just me.
Saxman?
Highest run differential in the major leagues. that's the business. You score more than they do. Whatever pitching that they need, they will go and buy. I mean, that's just the kind of market that they're in. They'll cut the check to get Chicago down the stretch. There are few stadiums in this world as inviting and as exhilarating as a day at Wrigley Field. And to deny those fans the experience of playoff baseball is a crime. And I say that not as a Cubs fan, but I wish I was a Cubs fan. I swear to God, I wish I was a Cubs fan. I'd love to have been miserable my entire adult life and win a World Series at one point. But let's be honest, they're good and they're going to get better.
What do you think, Jay?
They suck. I'm a Cardinal fan. I've been a Cardinal fan my whole life. I watched them give up. What they give up? 9 runs in the 8th inning and still won last night, or 7.
10.
He gave up 10 runs and still
10.
won.
A Cubs fan. We used to just watch the Cubs just implode. The Cubs don't have enough pitching. I'm a pitching defense guy. They don't have enough pitching. They can score 10, but they're going to give up 11. Who closes out games for the Cubs? To your point,
Presley.
I know. We'll see. We'll see.
We kicked him to
I am
the
not
third.
a Cubs fan. I love I have 2 sisters that live in Chicago, and we go round and round again. They're what, 4 games over 500, and it's April. Let's tap the brakes. The Central Division in MLB in the National League it looks like the back end of a horse, and that's what the Central.
You talk about one of the great unreported stories. The Cardinals Cubs is one of the great underreported rivalries in all of sports.
It's fun. It's fun.
And I've been to a game at Wrigley against the Cards, and it is just hilarious.
They used to have fights in the stands. Now everybody's a little calmer. It's like the NHL. Nobody touches anybody anymore.
I know.
Except if the USA is playing the Canadian team and then they fight before they drop the puck.
They fight 3 times.
I'm getting Matthew
3 times in 9 seconds.
I'm getting
You would drop the puck.
Matthew and Brady's dad on the show. So I'm getting Walt Chuck on the show. I can't wait to ask him about that. He said something like, "Those are the idiot brothers." That's what he called them.
All right, guys, we got about 2.5 minutes, and then we got to go to Jay Delsing Golf, which is like the best golf show in the history of the world across our network. But I got to get your picks because this is a pick show. So I'm going to get your pick. I'm going to start out. I'm going to give you guys winners out of the goodness of my heart. All right. I got 3 picks today. I got 3. Number 1, I love the Capitals hockey at home -190. Number 2, I love I love Toronto at home playoffs -160. Those are my 2. And in baseball today, Cubs, Diamondbacks 7.5. I don't bet run lines a lot, but I gotta bet the over there. Wind's blowing out. Cubs are scoring 10, 15 a game. So those are my 3 plays. Matthew?
I'm going to go right against you and chum right out of the gate. Definitely rocking with the Padres at -118. They're the way better team, like you said. Hader's not throwing. I mean, they're in the middle of possibly a rebuild, whatever they want to call it. Then definitely going to back Paul Skeens. I'm going to pick the Pirates to win a game. I think I might regret it, but the Guardians lineup isn't very good. Ben Lively's not an MLB pitcher. They're -170. So those are my 2. I'll probably end up taking Hunter Green and the Reds as well.
Reed?
I got the Chicago Cubs today minus
Cubs at home?
150. Right. Yeah. That's what I got.
Cubs at home. Saxman?
That's the only one I'm going with.
Well, if you're going to do a parlay today, I'd go Cubs, Padres, Pirates, and Reds right now. That's a great parlay to string out there. I also like Vegas against Minnesota in the NHL playoffs tonight. I think they're going to sweep the Wild, and look for Edmonton and the Kings to go to 7 in round 1.
I like all those. In fact, I might do that parlay, and then I might throw in I might throw a couple of hockeys in there, but I think the Wild are way overrated. All right, Jay, we're going to close with you and then go right to your golf show.
It's a lot of Delsing, so I apologize for that. Guys, the White Sox are +270. We played 19 games. The White Sox have won 4 ball games against the Red Sox. And can you lay 340 after less than 2 weeks of a season in MLB? That's what I just laugh. fade the Cardinals. The Cardinals are playing the Mets. Fade the Cardinals on the road. They got a bunch of young players. We have no team identity. And watch out, John, you're going to hate this. Watch out for Jordan Binnington. I'm a homer, so don't discard your money. But Jordan Binnington can steal a series. So I can't wait to watch the Blues and the Jets tonight. Blues are plus 160.
The Blues are a dangerous team. I really feel if the Jets get past the Blues, that's a tough matchup because to me they're the most dangerous team right now in hockey because I don't even know how good they are or how bad they are. But if they get hot, remember they got hot in the middle of the season. I was betting them every day. Yep. I made a lot of money. I just bet. I didn't care what the line was. Blues. They beat everybody and then they cooled off. But very streaky team, guys. Thank you for being with us on Godzilla Wins. Want to thank Matthew Lumsden, Reed Chumley, Chris Saxman, Jay Delsing. Right now, don't even think about going anywhere else because the Jay Delsing Golf Show is next. Keep it right here. I'll see you Monday, bright and early.